Just days after relegation was confirmed and less than a week after we were told that everything was all right, we're pretty much back to square one in the search for new owners as the Bord Consortium of today pulled out as the preferred bidder to purchase Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. What happens next? Who will be the new preferred bidder? Will we be staring a 15-point deduction in the face for next season? Who will be covering the losses of close to £1 million a month as well in this period? Now, I'm just going to start by reading a shortened version of the statement that the consortium released earlier today. To all the long-suffering fans of this great club, the greatest regret that we've decided not to pursue our bid to become the new custodians. We fondly watched Wednesday from afar of many years, a club whose glory has been diminished by poor owners who disregarded your passion, your history and your value. You deserved and deserve better. We jumped at the chance to be part of your next chapter and engage professionally with the administrator, the EFL and the independent football regulator. Tragically, the historic mishandling and catastrophic underinvestment means our sizable binding bid can no longer be justified. As reported, we spent over £4 million to help run the club, but the exclusivity agreement limits what we can adjust regardless of our analysis. We know this is a bitter disappointment and apologise wholeheartedly. One final point, we have never seen such a passionate fan base. We hope the next owners appreciate you as we would have. Investing in your team, stadium and community, all three are needed. The rest of this season will be challenging, but you'll rise again to former glory. Rah, 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 rah. They're gone. They're not going to be the new owners of Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Faisal bin Jamil, one of the three, has also spoken to the Star. I'm not going to read his statement out. You can read it and see what, and look at Alex's piece that he's done. Basically, the due diligence was completed with top global advisors. The club value was far below the agreed price. Administrators aren't blamed in that either. He expressed their duties to maximise creditor returns, which we kind of know all of that. And the actual bid much higher than the reported. I think it's about 40 million. That figure does come out in a second as well, by the way. Also said, this is the one that kind of doesn't stack up for me. The assessment of Hillsborough, like saying that it needs a lot of work doing to it. I mean, no shit, Sherlock. I mean, I think anyone could have probably told him that. It wouldn't have taken that long to work that one out. And and the valuation gap makes the deal impossible as well. So, the administrators have also made a statement as well. They've said that the offer from the preferred bidder was 47.8 million, which I think is absolutely staggering when you think about it. Like, I mean, even I could have told them that was never going to go through. That was never a fair valuation of the football club or the right valuation of the football club. So as to how they ever got to that figure, I have absolutely no idea. But they've also, the administrators have said that they've been contacted already by parties who previously participated in the sales process and have reiterated their interest in acquiring the club. They've also said that it won't be day one where they've got to go back to, but the EFL tests still need to be undertaken. So, I guess we're probably maybe, a week or two before the preferred bidder stage that we was at. So, they've also confirmed that the £4 million that was paid to fund the club wasn't a loan, and this money doesn't have to be paid back either. So that is one plus point, I guess. Now, I mean, are you shocked, Matt? The first thing, are you shocked that this has happened?
Shocked in the sense of we are quite a way through the process, but also being very cautious of the fact of we as a fan base haven't been in this process before. But I would be completely talking out of both sides of my mouth here, James, if I said that anything at this point in time really shocked me about Sheffield Wednesday, because everything that could go wrong this season has gone wrong.
I mean, I gave myself a little deadline of at the end of the season. We've got 13 games. I had a look earlier. It's 9 weeks this weekend. Yeah. It's like less than 10 weeks between, which is not a long time, is it really? I don't really think it's going to get sorted before then, do you?
It's a quick turnaround if it is. It does only shave, let's say, if somebody were to enter into a preferred bidder status in, I know this is going to seem really quick considering how long it felt like the last one took, But I think the club statement backs up the fact that they've been engaging bidders earlier, and actually that process, a lot of the legwork of that process has seemingly been on the back burner as well. Because also this is, I suppose, the bonus of having someone like Begbie's trainer in charge of things is it's not the first go round.
Yeah.
Where, it's not the first one of, oh my God, we've done this, right? That's our job, aside from handing stuff in. They are also long in the tooth enough to know that these things do and can and have happened.
And I suppose as well, whatever's been uncovered in this process already, maybe that can, I don't mean like presented to, but every case is different. Every football club is different. So I suppose, like you said, they've been here before, but whatever stumbling blocks the Bord Consortium have come up against, the next people, maybe they might be already wise to that. Things like how much the stadium is going to cost to be put right. I mean, that one was the thing that did me when I read it. Again, maybe call me a cynic. I've read that statement from the Bord Consortium. Given what Chris Wigfield said in they've replied to the EFL once, they've now replied to the EFL again, and then he thought that he'd seen the responses to the EFL the second time, and he thought that was going to throw up some more questions.
Yeah.
To me, and I could be totally wide of the mark, but to me it sounds like they've jumped before they've been pushed.
I think the thing that was most puzzling for me was, as you say, there seemed to be big emphasis surrounding the fact that there are 3 levels of infrastructure that need to be, or that need significant investment. The playing side of things, the club, and the wider staff. Everybody has known the facilities aren't good enough. Like, even if you weren't interested in it before the start of the season, 2 days before the season started, a stand wasn't open.
Well, just on that, Matt, I have heard that the administrators were kind of a bit taken aback by this, that it'd been released before. That was when it got released to the media. That was the first time that they'd heard of it. Hence why their statement came, a good couple of hours after it got released to the media.
Yes, you would be, but also you could make it. There is an argument there to suggest from the other side of it is you've wasted £4 million because you didn't do your homework properly before.
It does feel like this last kind of couple of months has been an utter total waste of time, is it, from a fan's perspective?
That's the frustrating thing from a purely fan perspective, without trying to see the wider picture, is we've just pissed away 2 months on this. However, I think the statement that James Silverwood gave from the Trust I thought was actually really well measured, because he is representing a large portion of the fan base. And actually, he came out and said that, yes, this is frustrating, but the overall message was surrounding it's important that we get the right owner in. And actually, if that process takes longer, yes, frustrating. Yes, frustrating for what it may mean implications-wise on the pitch next year or over the summer, etc. But if it is the right owner long-term for Sheffield Wednesday, that is much more important than racing through a process. And let's say this process races through, we get a year into it and they've had enough.
It was very difficult to find any Sheffield Wednesday fan that had the Bord Consortium as their preferred bidder. So I think quite a lot of people were just accepting of it, like we all are as Sheffield Wednesday fans, that just to get the process over and done with and finished, because everyone, excuse the pun, is bored of it. Like just want it to get just finish and move on, and let's just see what's going to happen and win some football matches, sign some players, and all. Let's get back to Sheffield Wednesday being the Sheffield Wednesday that we know and love. So, but again, to go back to it, when the 3 names were there, Ashley, Storch, and Bord, I think a lot of people were quite shocked when it was Bord. Storch had put that statement out only hours before, which is obviously done again, which seems to be their trick. And people were like, "Oh yeah, I like that one. That's great." And then you had your staunch Ashley supporters that kind of, I know I kind of likened it to going to Weatherspoons. You know it's crap, but you know what you're going to get. And I think that's kind of a little bit like what people are thinking with him as well. And so yeah, I think Bord was probably the 3rd on the list of most people. I mean, who do you think is going to be the preferred bidder? Because I mean, one shining light is that apparently, the consortium have said that. The administrators have said that there are interested bidders that have already come back to the table. I think Rob Dorsett from Sky said that there's 3. So we know of Ashley and we know of Storch, I don't think Ashley's publicly said anything, but Storch definitely did yesterday. So you'd like to think those were two. And there's another one as well that's kind of come to the fore who we don't particularly know at this moment in time.
The honest answer is, James, I've got absolutely no idea. Really seriously, and if this process has taught us one thing, it's that nothing is signed and sealed until it's actually all ticked off and everything's done. I think me and you sat on the podcast before the initial announcement. I cannot remember whether it was an extra time or a main show, where we sat on the podcast just before the board preferred bidder status had been announced. And we discussed like the merits of kind of like the bids that were there. I think it was an extra time episode. And we sat there and we came down on the fence of actually, we had suggested, and this again may sound like revisionist history, we had come down on the fact of actually from the bidders that are there, Ashley's too divisive. We don't know enough about Bord. The Storch one, he's been around and interested in football before. And then I think it was literally the following day or 2 days later, statement comes out from them, followed by 20 minutes later, they're not the preferred bidders. And if you go back and look at the podcast from that me and you recorded on the day of that, we were both, as reacting to it as fans, just so happy that there was a movement in the process.
Yeah. Someone actually wanted to buy us.
Yeah, because at that point, if you remember from the October when obviously the club went into administration, we had an initial wave and a surge of excitement surrounding it, but then it did feel like it was just being whittled down, and gradually your hope surrounding it was whittled down. I honestly, James, I have absolutely no idea, because we've heard all sorts of different people who have been linked to this. And I would also imagine, because the news broke, yes, the administrative team will have people who they were interested in and speaking to. And, you know, if it is Storch who gave the quote to Rob Staten yesterday, then that's one we knew about, who have been interested, who have been there before. Mike Ashley, as you say, has never publicly come out. Nobody from his camp has publicly come out and declared an interest in it. But as Keith Lard, everybody's favourite Phoenix Knights fire officer, once said, "There's no smoke without fire." Couldn't let a podcast go by. We'd had a few go by without a Phoenix.
We had actually, yeah. I thought the people were getting a bit worried that we'd not used any of those. But yeah, they're back.
And then we were also aware that in the weeks leading up to that, the administrators had met with several interested parties. So the honest answer is, James, it depends on how long this particular, that reinitial bidding phase goes on for.
I am just going to read the Storch statement that was out yesterday. We remain incredibly passionate about the opportunity at Sheffield Wednesday and seeing the club return to its former glory. We wish the preferred bidder well through the process, but are ready to step in should the opportunity present itself again. We know all are disappointed by relegation, yet wish the team well as they finish the current season. And that was at 8:15 on yesterday, on Tuesday.
There is one glaring outlier there, which the club have come out and given a figure which, as fans, even in the summer, without administration, still with a relatively competitive playing squad, if you'd have told me that somebody was willing to pay £47.8 million for the club, I'd have told you they're crackers. Like they are. I know we heard all sorts of rumours of figures of 60, 70, 80 million pound bids, etc. 47.8 million in the current state that we were in on December the 24th when it was accepted is an awful lot of money.
Well, the other thing, Matt, is are you worried that we might be hit with this 15-point deduction? Because, you know, we're told that figure is around about 30 million, which is like, what, 17 million pound less than what the Bord Consortium put. So there's some wiggle room there. But the other question is the club in this state as it is right now even worth the £30 million? Because we have been relegated. We are on -7. We don't have any players. We have probably one real asset in Pierce Charles, a decent asset. A couple of other players that are worth a little bit, but not really much at all. From a playing perspective, there's absolutely nothing there.
There's nothing left now. Yeah.
So is that a concern and a worry for you? I know James Silverwood did cross that subject earlier.
Yeah, I think there's the conversation surrounding what is the actual financial value of the club worth, and it is worth I'd say anywhere, we talked about it being 22 million in around like kind of like the start of the season. I think it's worth significantly less now because you are playing in a division below. I know lots of people knew that was what was the 99% likely outcome, even from the start of the season, etc. I think you are probably talking in terms of actual real world valuation now, you are probably talking anywhere between 15 to 20, 22 million is what the club is actually worth. The question is, do you feel that the additional money to ensure that you don't hit the 15-point deduction, is that worth the additional 10 million?